Money is an energy value of guilt, which is the price or debt owed or due. This currency is a token of down-regulation. You trade in the guilt of your labor or service for a standardized currency of guilt that can be exchanged to purchase the upregulation of another person or people. So what we are dealing with is a circuit of energy. This circuit course is developed by the psychosocial injunctions of a culture. These rules and regulations grow from two things: the perceived limitations of land and the potential of consequence, what you can account for and the unaccountable. Laws and rules are the axons and dendrites that a system of humans have cultivated through series validation. It is confirmation of the accountable reinforcing the path that energy can take. You make money through upregulation in order to downregulate by guilting someone else into upregulation. You expend energy for a quantified measure of guilt so that you can exchange that guilt for another person's expenditure of energy. That's because the circuit we currently use is based on thermodynamics, which is energy lost through entropy. This is why people think that time is money, and that time is health, and money is status, longevity, and power. The more energy you've accumulated, the longer it takes for entropy to affect you, is the idea. I made this meme to illustrate the point. Time goes up to 60 and money goes up to 100. Time does not equal money. The more money you have, the more guilt you are holding on to, the more injunctions you have breached. This means blame has to be shifted, so legal systems, codes, and laws exist to navigate the circuit of energy, of downregulation and upregulation. How to get away with injunctions: you jump through loopholes, pathways that don't exist but can let you avoid blame. What are two things people want in life? Wealth and health. The limitations of lands, the accountable, are used to build wealth. The potential of a consequence, the unaccountable, is used for health. You don't know if you're going to get a disease, or injured, or start to feel the effects of aging or the consequences of using energy for guilt. So you pay for the perceived security of health through money. Because money is the energy value of guilt, the more money you have, the more heightened your electrical circuit is. This is why money is a class hierarchy. You get into higher frequencies of radiation as you amass wealth. The less amount of money, the more down to earth you are, the less guilt you have. Because society is based off entropy, everyone is seeking to take from one another. You cannot make your own energy, so you must feed off someone else's. Everyone is guilty, and it's just about where the guilt is being moved and amassed, and every economic system is just a different distribution of guilt. The architecture of the circuit. Why does cancer happen? Blame is pushed into someone until their cells collapse on themselves, becoming a black hole of guilt alleviation. In other words, a sacrifice, a scapegoat. Everyone shifts the blame until it lands on poor Timmy and he gets cancer or some other illness and dies, which finally releases the guilt and leads to downregulation for a time. So how can health be tied to energy? Because energy is not from food. It's from light. It's from the circuit of electricity. Because we aren't actually in a thermodynamic cult of entropy and energy loss. We are in a world of cold energy and hot energy, of light and shade, of white matter and dark matter. We are in systems within the Red Queen's game and the Masters of Game, and these games are played with by dolls inside of dolls. You get diseases because microorganisms follow the circuit of energy. Now this is why microbes are incorrectly named, because microbiology does not in any way refer to microbes in a context which allows you to consider this very easily, despite the fact it's intuitively known by you. You just got convinced by the series validation, the confirmation of self-reinforcing guilt, and injunction circuit created by culture, the conditioned norm of collective understanding. Microbes travel through paths of energy and electricity. They live and form the kind of communities, and their role in a microbiome and ecosystem is based on the kind of energy, the wavelength of light, and frequency of electromagnetic radiation. Having wealth means to downregulate at the cost of others upregulating, receiving their energy, amassing it, and shifting the guilt of that onto someone else. So you get less unaccountable consequences, though the energy received is still going to cause excited states of vibratory being. This is a self-eating system. The Ouroboros consuming its own energy. It only happens because people aren't producing energy. The mitochondrial circuit of energy is entangled by injunctions. The mitochondria must be in a circuit of powering its own energy, self-sustaining. Energy comes from labor, activity, downregulation, and upregulation. It's constantly being produced always. It's just being absorbed, and guilt is shifted by a system which has made clever use of injunctions, legal laws, and cultural codes to feed into certain avenues of loopholes, Ouroboros wormholes, for the sole purpose of achieving wealth and health for certain people. All your energy is leaking from your mitochondria because it has not made itself into a proper feedback loop. It is an open circuit so that the system in place can tap into it, siphon from it. It is the equivalent of an open wound. Money is supposed to be antimicrobial and electrically conducive. Money needs to be paid in probiotic drinks such as ancient beer or other fermented foods, in salt, in gold, and silver, and copper, and so on. This allows for the guilt to ground out, and for unaccountable consequences of microbes to be protected from. You cannot have a successful guilt system without antimicrobial properties and electrical conduction. Energy, laws, guilt, injunctions, society, microbes, health, electricity, money, light, magnetism, mysticism, circuitry, mitochondria, the nervous system, space. All these concepts are together in the same world. Stop thinking in terms of divided fields of study or compartmentalized localities of reality. The guilt is shifted from the top down, while the energy is fed from the bottom up. Legal systems, moral codes, social contracts, and so on exist to ease this circuit, to make it a maze with no real path, while the loopholes can be taken to jump from circuit to circuit. Guilt and blame is easy to come by because the circuit cannot support itself or travel in efficient ways. All the unaccountable consequences fall on the lower hierarchy systems, while the energy is given to elevate those higher above.